From nothing to everything, the rags to riches story of Howard Schultz, Starbucks. Opening hook. Imagine growing up in a poor neighborhood with parents who struggled to pay the bills and a future that seemed limited before it even began. Most people in that situation never break free, but some do. Some climb out of poverty, fueled by nothing more than persistence, vision, and an unshakable belief that life could be better. This is the story of Howard Schultz, a boy from the projects who built one of the most recognizable brands in the world, Starbucks. Chapter 1: The Early Struggles. Howard Schultz was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, in a working-class neighborhood called Canarsie. His family lived in government-subsidized housing, barely making ends meet. His father worked low-paying, unstable jobs, sometimes as a truck driver, sometimes as a factory worker. There was no job security, no health insurance, no safety net. Howard often watched his father come home tired, frustrated, and hopeless. One memory stayed with him forever. When his father broke his ankle on the job, he was fired and received no compensation. His family had no savings, no support, and they struggled even to put food on the table. For young Howard, this wasn't just painful, it was eye-opening. He realized what poverty really meant, and he quietly made himself a promise. I'm going to create a better life. I will not let this be the end of my story. Chapter 2: Dreams Bigger Than Circumstances. Sports became Howard's escape. He earned a football scholarship to Northern Michigan University, the first in his family to attend college, but it wasn't easy. He worked multiple jobs, bartending, selling blood, even working in cafeterias, just to survive. Despite the struggles, college opened his eyes to possibilities he never imagined as a boy. He discovered marketing and business, and he realized he wanted to be part of building something big, something meaningful. After graduation, Howard worked for Xerox, learning the ropes of sales and marketing. Later, he joined a Swedish coffee machine company. It was this job that would change the course of his life forever. Chapter 3: A Chance Encounter. While working at the coffee machine company, Howard noticed that one of his clients, a small coffee shop in Seattle called Starbucks, was ordering more machines than anyone else. Curious, he flew to Seattle to see what made them different. Starbucks wasn't a global brand back then. It was just a small store selling coffee beans and equipment. But when Howard stepped inside, he was captivated. The aroma, the atmosphere, the passion for quality, it was unlike anything he'd ever experienced. He thought, there's something here, something powerful. Chapter 4: The Vision. Howard eventually joined Starbucks as their head of marketing, but his real inspiration came during a trip to Italy. In Milan, he saw coffee houses on every corner, espresso bars where people gathered not just to drink coffee, but to connect, to share ideas, to build community. He returned to the US with a bold vision. Starbucks should be more than just a store. It should be a third place, a community between home and work. But when he pitched the idea to Starbucks founders, they resisted. They didn't want to serve drinks. They wanted to sell beans. For many, rejection would have been the end. But for Howard Schultz, it was just another obstacle on the climb. Chapter 5: Starting from Scratch. Unable to convince Starbucks, Howard took a leap of faith. He left the company and started his own coffee house, Il Giorno, in 1986. It was risky. He had no money, little support, and every bank he approached turned him down. He pitched his idea to over 200 investors. Almost all of them said no. Some laughed. Some told him coffee was too small, too risky, too ordinary, but Howard didn't give up. Finally, a few believed in his vision. With their backing, he opened Il Giorno, and it was a success. Customers loved the experience. They weren't just buying coffee, they were buying community, comfort, and connection. Chapter 6: The Big Leap. In 1987, Starbucks ran into financial trouble. Howard seized the moment. With the support of investors, he bought Starbucks and merged it with his own coffee house. Now, his vision had a name the world would soon recognize: Starbucks. Howard set out to create a global brand, not just selling coffee, but creating an experience. Store by store, city by city, Starbucks grew. From a few shops in Seattle, it spread across the United States, then across the world. Chapter 7: The Climb to the Summit. Under Howard's leadership, Starbucks became more than a coffee company. It became a symbol, a place where people could work, relax, dream, and connect. From government housing to the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, Howard had climbed the mountain of persistence. He hadn't just changed his own life. He had created opportunities for thousands of employees and experiences for millions of customers around the globe. Closing lesson. Howard Schultz's story is not just about coffee. It's about vision. It's about persistence. It's about refusing to accept the limits of your circumstances. He once said, "Dream more than others think practical. Expect more than others think possible. Care more than others think wise." His journey reminds us that where you start does not determine where you finish. With persistence, rejection can become redirection, poverty can become power, and a dream can become a global revolution.